What exactly do private investigators do? What types of investigations do they conduct? When asked these questions, most people just think of surveillance, videotaping a cheating spouse, or watching an insurance fraudster defrauding the system. And a lot of PIs do that type of work, but not all do surveillance. And most private investigators do several types of investigations to ensure they stay busy in their private investigations business. Let's go over the top 25 different types of investigations that private investigators do in today's world. Accident investigations is the first one we will cover. When a private investigator is working an accident investigation, it may include gathering evidence to identify why and how an accident occurred and who is at fault. Accident investigations may include taking detailed measurements on scene, taking photos of a scene, and getting pictures of all vehicles involved, as well as reviewing police and other accident reports. What most people do not realize is there are several levels of accident investigations, going from very basic to more advanced methods such as accident reconstruction and engineering. Just about any private investigator can get started in accident investigations today, working those very basic jobs. Here's how I got started doing accident investigations. Shortly after I started my PI career back in 2008, I attended the annual PI conference here in Colorado. The conference was 2 days long, a Friday and a Saturday, and one of those classes was on accident investigations. The speaker covered many topics, but my biggest takeaway was the three different types of accident investigations, which are routine or basic level investigations, accident reconstruction, which covers a more detailed area of the investigation and requires some pretty complicated software that helps put together how the accident actually occurred, and then engineering, which involves evaluating things like structural integrity of bridges, curves in roadways, and other things like that. This video is sponsored by OREP Insurance and Working PI Magazine. OREP is a leading provider of private investigator liability insurance. Visit orep.org for a quote today. Now, I know this is a rather simple breakdown of each level, and if you know a better way to explain them, please let us know in the comments below. My biggest focus, though, was on those basic routine types of investigations. These require some basic equipment like measuring tools, safety cones and lights, a good camera, all of which I knew I could obtain. Then, to my surprise, that following Monday, I received a call from a large national firm that needed a basic accident investigation right here in my area. They even spelled out what they needed: photos of the scene and of all the vehicles, and they told me where the vehicles were, measurements of the scene and the vehicles, and an interview with the drivers. I was so ready for this call. I told them yes, I could help them and I could do these things. They hired me. I made a mad dash out to buy a few things like a rolling measuring device and some cones to set up, and then I headed out. And you know what? That client is still a client to this day. And you know what else? You too can do these types of basic accident investigations. Asset locate investigations are another type of investigation that PIs do. These involve locating an individual or a business's assets, such as real estate or vehicles. These usually entail public record searches, interviews, neighborhood canvassing, and possibly some surveillance. Now, asset location investigations are different than financial investigations, and we will discuss those in a few moments. But basic asset investigations are something most PIs should be able to conduct. Background checks are another type of investigation PIs do, which entails locating information related to criminal records, employment history, civil court cases, marriage status, and more. Now, these are tricky and require special training regarding federal and state laws that restrict what information can and cannot be provided for employment, housing, and other financial matters. Background investigations are one of those areas that get a lot of PIs in trouble if they report the wrong thing about the subject. If you do backgrounds, especially for things like employment, housing, and other things related to anything financial, I suggest you get some formal training on what you can do and what you cannot report in your state, as well as from the federal level. My company does backgrounds, but on a more limited basis due to the complexities of these and the consequences involved of doing them wrong. I do not want to risk losing my business, my home, my everything because I wanted to make a little money doing backgrounds and I did them wrong. Bug sweeps, or TSCM, technical surveillance countermeasures, utilize very sophisticated, very specialized and very expensive equipment to identify and locate audio recording devices, video recording devices, and tracking devices. This is one area that a lot of private investigators want to get involved in, but can't due to the high financial commitment to obtain all the equipment and to get the proper training. Cell phone forensics includes analyzing cellular phone activity, phone location identification, and other data stored on the device. Much like TSCM or bug sweeps, these types of forensic investigations require very special training as well as very specialized equipment. In my TSCM business, we often bring in a cell phone or a computer forensic expert to help us analyze cell phones. Child custody and child support investigations are often conducted by private investigators. These involve observing a child's activities while entrusted with another parent, grandparent, aunts, uncles, or a guardian. They might also include observing a parent or someone else's activity when they are not with the children. Oftentimes, parents are a little more cautious when they have the kids as to what they do in public. But I've had many cases where we are able to prove a parent or guardian had some rather questionable behavior when they didn't have the kids. And this was able to be used to question whether they were a good parent as many times. Like for drug and alcohol abuse cases, it can and does bleed over into their time with the kids. Civil investigations cover a wide variety of things to include gathering evidence as it relates to a civil matter. These civil matters might involve an individual suing or making accusations of another individual. Some civil investigations may relate to divorces, legal separations, and property rights. Then there is computer forensics, which is similar to cell phone forensics. Computer forensics would involve gathering activity records, data storage, and other information from a computer, laptop, or a tablet. Many times, PIs that do computer forensics will also do cell phone forensics too, as they complement each other quite well. Cybercrime investigations is a quickly growing area of expertise for private investigators. These would include investigating acts of hacking, remote system monitoring, cyberbullying, and other types of nefarious activity conducted on the internet with the intent to harm others. Often a PI that does cybercrime investigations will also do computer and cell phone forensics too. Corporate investigations are a type of investigation that can vary in scope widely and can include identifying if an employee or a business partner is stealing from a company, or to see if an ex-employee is stealing customers or has stolen intellectual properties. Corporate investigations might also entail detailed backgrounds on a business partner or firm to ensure they are legitimate, as well as looking for evidence of embezzlement or other fraud situations. Criminal investigations for PIs is usually going to be in the criminal defense realm. This would include gathering evidence related to DUIs and domestic violence, as well major felonies such as murder, assault, or attempted murder. Criminal investigations will usually include scene investigations, interviews, review of police reports, and neighborhood canvassing. Then there are due diligence investigations. These types of investigations relate to gathering information regarding a company or an individual's business history, financial performance, client structure, and more. Due diligence investigations are often conducted prior to hiring an executive or entering into a business agreement with another company or individual. Executive protection is something that many PIs might provide if they also offer some security types of services. Executive protection services, such as physical bodyguard services, are conducted to ensure the safety of high priority, high value, and high net worth clients. Financial investigations consist of identifying and analyzing bank accounts, retirement accounts, investment accounts, as well as where monies come from, where monies went to, and how monies were used. This is a highly sophisticated and complicated area of investigations. The resources for finding this type of information is very restricted, as well as the entire industry has many regulations involved as to how you can and cannot obtain this information. Fire investigations is also one of those specialty areas of investigation and can include gathering and examining evidence to identify the cause and impacts of fires, arson, and explosions. I have had some major cases that involve fire, arson, and yes, even explosions, like one that included 2 houses that exploded due to a gas leak. In all of these cases, I was able to conduct some basic work like taking photos of the scene, interviewing witnesses, and other duties, but I brought in experts to do the analysis of the explosion and ensuing fire. Fraud investigations can fit in with many other categories of investigations. These investigations entail looking for evidence where someone is or has intentionally misrepresented a situation in order to gain financially from someone else. Fraud investigations will often be tied to financial investigations, asset locates, insurance claims, and surveillance. Infidelity and cheating spouse investigations is what most people think of when they think of private investigators. And many PIs do conduct infidelity investigations, to be sure, but many also steer away from these as they do tend to get a bit messy, a little more dangerous in the sense of the other party discovering they are under investigation and they are just generally kind of ugly. These generally involve significant surveillance of someone's spouse or a significant other when questions of marital or relational loyalty arises. They usually also include some level of social media or online investigations. An insurance fraud investigation would include looking for and gathering evidence as it relates to potential false insurance claims such as hail damage, home burglaries, fire, and other matters. Insurance fraud investigations usually consist of interviews, photography, surveillance, and neighborhood canvassing. Missing persons investigations involve the gathering of evidence of a missing person's whereabouts and activities. These can be related to runaway children, missing spouses, or elderly individuals, at-risk individuals, and people who have not been seen or heard of for some time. A major complication for these types of investigations is that often people are missing on purpose, and the law allows a person to go missing, to hide, and to not be found. There are some strict rules in place for many of these cases as to what information you can provide and to who you can provide that information to. Whenever I take on one of these cases, if the missing person is an adult, I only take them on with the caveat that we will contact the missing person on behalf of the client and ask them to contact the client. Or if it is a minor, then we will only provide the information to police or other authorities involved. Sometimes we do what is called a missing person welfare investigation, where we find the person and document that they are alive and safe. Locate investigations and skip traces are similar, but usually there are some differences. For my company, a skip trace usually consists of running an individual in one or more of my super secret PI databases, analyzing that data and determining the most likely place of residence for that individual. Skip traces are often used closely to process serving. Locates, on the other hand, usually consist of more in-depth work to include phone calls to family and friends, as well boots on the ground work such as interviewing family, friends, past neighbors, and employers or co-workers. Process serving, or legal service of process, is something that many PIs do, whether related to cases they are working on and they are serving witnesses for an existing case, or as a side gig delivering legal documents such as summonses or subpoenas to individuals, businesses, or other entities. Many times this is a side business the PI will have to help augment revenue streams. Many PIs often look at it as a necessary evil to help them stay afloat, as many PIs do not like doing process serving. Public records investigations includes gathering public records and documents from counties, cities, or towns and state government records. This type of investigation is often tied to other investigations like fraud, marital matters, OSINT or open source intelligence investigations. Social media and online evidence gathering, which is often called OSINT or open source intelligence investigations, is an ever-growing area of investigation that is used to support many other types of investigations. These involve gathering online evidence for things such as alibis, proofs of relationship, activities, photo identification, identifying known associates, and many other areas of interest. Then there is surveillance investigations, which are usually tied to child custody matters, marital cases, and insurance fraud claims. This again is what a lot of people think of when they think of private investigators sitting inside a dark car, waiting and watching with camera in hand. Surveillance usually includes stationary surveillance in a vehicle, observing a subject or location for long periods of time, and many times includes mobile surveillance when the subject becomes active and goes mobile. Most PIs get their start in the private investigations industry doing surveillance. This is how I got started, and for the first 3 years of my PI career, that is all I did, day in and day out, 6 to 7 days a week. Wrongful death investigations are a bit of a specialty area. These could entail anything from suicide cases, accident investigations, police shootings, and other scenarios. Usually these require some level of formal training and work experience. Now, which of these 25 investigative areas do you work in? Or which of these 25 areas do you want to work in? Let me know in the comments below. And if you think of other areas of investigation I did not mention, throw that down in the comments below and let me know what other topics you would like to discuss right here on the PI Guy.